This is Jessica with fulfilledandabundant.com. Today, it's actually my pleasure, or this is a gift to me, that Elisabeth is showing up today. So this is Elisabeth. She's been taking the Magic of Presence classes for a while now, and she's going to share about her experience. So how are you today, Elisabeth?
I'm doing really good today. Thanks.
Good. I guess we can start with a short background if you want to share a little bit about yourself. What do you do, or what attracted you to take the class? Start wherever you want.
Yeah, well, so I am a business owner, and I have a family business with my dad where we teach U.S. Coast Guard courses for people who work on ships. So it's a never boring business that keeps me on my toes. Definitely high pressure, rewarding. And I also have a number of invisible illnesses that, kind of add to the complexity of my life. And so what attracted me to this class was the ability to learn how to live my best life and learn how to balance all of these energies and really be able to shine through everything that I have on my plate and bring my best to my business, my life, my health, and live an abundant life.
Thank you. Oh, nice. So we met through Soulful Speakers, which is a speaking club led by Rebecca Massoud. And unfortunately, the group has been put on pause for a while. I hope Rebecca does something new. So that's how Elisabeth and I originally met via Zoom. And so I'm really grateful for that connection. And I guess so you've been doing the class for a while. It might be a whole year. I'm not sure.
I think we're pretty close. Yeah, I think it was around summertime last year that I started.
Yeah, how amazing. So do you want to share what you gained the very first class? And then as we go through the conversation, we'll share what wins you have now.
Yeah, well, the very first class I gained a really profound sense of who I am in my body. And it's a little hard to explain without doing the classes, but I really felt like after doing these classes with you that I started to feel more comfortable in myself, just even walking around through the grocery store in my business. I actually had a meeting. It was like maybe after the first or second class, I had a meeting where it was all men, which is really typical for me working in the maritime industry with boats. And it's also really typical for me to not be heard in these meetings as the only woman. But after this first or second class that I did with you, I had this meeting, it was all men. And a really profound thing happened where I did our practice in the meeting. And then when I opened my mouth to speak, everybody was quiet. All of the men stopped talking and they listened to me. And that was like such a huge shift in my daily life that I was like, yes, I have to continue this practice, and I have to continue this for my, not in my own self-esteem, for my business, for just being myself and being heard and being present in the world. And so that was a really kind of fun example of like an immediate real world reaction to our practice.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love it when those things start to happen. You're like, oh my God, this never happened before. How cool.
Yeah, exactly. Like all of a sudden the whole room just stops and listens, and it's like a, kind of mind-blowing experience.
That's really cool. And so I just want to share that my perception of you, I had no idea that you had low self-esteem or wanted your self-esteem to be higher. And I know we all have improvement that we could build upon in the self-esteem or confidence area. And so my perception of you was that you were good. So that's awesome that you got even better.
Yeah, well, and I felt good too when I started. I felt like, okay, I'm fine. I'm at, like a good status quo. But after doing the practices, it's like, whoa, I can really like elevate and actually feel good. I can actually feel great and like super confident and super, safe and protected and free to be myself and in my presence.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. So do you want to share, you mentioned your invisible illnesses, and I'm pretty open with having had and dealing with fatigue, although some days it's drastically better than others. And on the whole, I am better. So I'm very grateful for that. But I know how debilitating it is to have an invisible illness where you look good, but you're like in so much agony. Do you want to share how the practices and the class has helped you with that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, fatigue has been a big one. And so just a brief background. I have narcolepsy, which is the sleeping disorder where you fall asleep randomly, and ankylosing and spondylitis, which is arthritis and basically back, shoulders, knees, and toes. And so it's painful. And so fatigue and pain are a big part of my day, every day. And these practices have really helped me manage this fatigue and pain, particularly in not feeling guilt around it. I used to feel like, oh no, what's wrong with me? Like you said, I look fine. I look like everybody else. People say, oh, you don't look sick.
Right.
And then I should feel like I should be doing this or that. And so working with you, I've been able to really find a place of acceptance and that I don't have to push myself because I'm doing good. I'm in a good place, and when I don't push myself, I feel better and I'm able to achieve more. And so really listening to my body has been a big change since starting these classes, and really, yeah, listening to my body, understanding what my body wants and needs, and not punishing myself for it.
Yeah, that's something that's really hard to deal with in society when we have such an achievement oriented society that's like punch through it. It's hard to deal with. Yeah. And so I'm curious, from the other professionals that you work with, did they encourage you to turn inwards and check in with your body as they were giving you different prescriptions and or solutions for your...
I have one doctor who is pretty savvy about meditation.
Okay.
Yeah, and he has actually commented on the change that he's seen in me since I've started these classes. So he's my general practitioner, and he's wonderful. But most of the doctors are like, yeah, here's some medications, here's tests, here's all of this Western medicine type of stuff, without really like, oh, what's how do you feel in your body, and oftentimes even disregarding how I say I feel, how I say my pain level is or fatigue level is, and they say, oh, you couldn't possibly be in that much pain, and it's like, well, but I am. So thankfully I have this wonderful general practitioner who does understand the benefits of meditation and energy work, and so he has been encouraging me to continue with this work, because he says that it's like just a night and day difference in how he perceives me. So
Wow.
pretty good testimony from my doctor.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you're getting external notice, because that's a giant support to keep going.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's a giant support of like, okay, this stuff works. I'm really gonna do it.
Yes.
So yay, that's amazing. And I'm so happy because I didn't know that. So I'm really happy for you.
Yeah, thank you.
And then you've manifested a couple times. You've manifested mid-class. So can I share that story from my perspective, and then you're welcome to chip in?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't remember if it was a makeup class or not, but we're doing the class, and we're doing one of the practices, and Elisabeth was at work, and so obviously when you're on the clock and at work and the phone rings, you have to answer the phone. So I was like, yeah, go ahead, answer the phone. So she actually, it was just so it must have been a makeup class, I don't know. So she answered the phone, and then it was this person. I think right then you were saying, I want more money. I don't know.
Yes.
Or maybe the day before, I don't know. So you're saying, I want more money. And then we're doing the practice, we're in the middle of it, and then the phone rings, you answer the phone, and somebody, I think it was a woman, she said, hi, can you create a class for us? Because it was like she offered classes to her community, and she wanted you to organize something specific for them, right? And I was like, oh my God, that's like, there you go. And that was like brand new clients that you did nothing for, that just called you, and it was massive enrollment, not just 1 or 2 or 3 people, which I thought was incredible that it happened in the middle of class.
Yes. It was like, ask and you shall receive. And it happened like immediately. So yeah, I remember that day. It was just the two of us. So it must have been a makeup class. And I was I was really stressed out that day because we had like all of these bills coming in, and I was like, yeah, I need some money to come in, and so we were working on manifesting money to come into the business, and we got this call, and it was actually a school out of state. So I'm in Washington State, and so this was a school in California, and she called up and she said, "Hey, we need you to put together this class, for our students. We need it to be, U.S. Coast Guard approved," which is exactly what we do. And I said, "Yes, we can help you with that." And so it actually turned into multiple contracts. And so we're actually setting up our second contract with that school coming up this fall.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, sometimes it can happen really fast.
Yeah. It was like instantaneous. It was pretty amazing. And yeah, like you said, I hadn't contacted this person, hadn't done anything other than, our regular business advertising, and she just called and it manifested some pretty big business.
Yay, that's a huge win. I love that story because it interrupted the class.
Yeah.
I mean, like if it was like a bigger group of people, then I would have put you on mute or whatever, but it's still so cool. And okay, so that was the beginning of when you started, and you've repeated the class many times. So do you feel like you're doing the same thing over and over, or are you getting something new each series? Or share about the repetition of doing the same class for the most part over and over.
Oh, there's always something new. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of the same practices, but every time we do the practices, there's a new level to it, and these practices aren't anywhere else. So it's not like I can jump on YouTube and you know find these practices. So like this is really the place to practice what we're doing. And so every time we do heart space or light globe, it's like I get a new level to it, and there's a new meaning that comes through. So yeah, it's definitely beneficial to keep going.
That's so awesome. I'm happy that you continue to grow and continue to get deeper insights and bigger evolutions and up leveling, and yeah, you do come off as more energetic, more confident. I see, because we've grown much closer over the year, I see you making bigger decisions, harder decisions, and it's very impressive. I'm very proud of you. It's awesome. So I think this work also empowers you to not shy away from something that would normally cause anxiety, or I don't know, it just feels like, okay, so when we're feeling anxiety, I'll share about myself. When I'm feeling anxiety, like sometimes anxiety takes over and it kind of like consumes you, and then you have a really hard time shaking it loose. And then we did a meditation together, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, that's, the anxiety is not realistic. And there's no judgment, there's no shaming.
Mhm.
It's just a recentering and a letting go, and it's going to work out.
Yes.
And it feels amazing. It feels awesome.
Okay. Yeah, no, I feel that 100%. Like, definitely feel a lot stronger in the decisions that I make, a lot more confident in the direction that I'm going. And the anxiety still creeps in, but it's a lot easier to release and just put outside and not internalize it.
Right. I think when you cope with anxiety or any chronic condition or chronic emotion, because I do consider anxiety an emotion. I think when you have something ongoing or chronic like that, it kind of becomes your identity. And in our society, it's so normal for people to say, I have anxiety. So it's like this identity.
Yeah.
And then when you do the practices, no, it's not who you are. Sometimes that happens to you, sometimes that comes up, but you're able to be removed from it. I wanted to say disassociate, but I was like, no. You're able to remove yourself from that and recognize sometimes it happens to you, but you're able to come back.
Yeah. Put some space between you and the anxiety.
Yeah. And then you're able to make a different choice as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's very cool. So, okay, you've had a ton of wins this year. Do you want to share some more amazing things that have happened? And how do you know that it was because of taking the class compared to if you weren't in the class?
Well, one of the biggest ones is my business for sure. So business is up 50% from where it was last year.
And in March, you wanted it to be up 30%.
It did. Yeah. So I set my goal in March to be up 30%. So now it's up 50%.
Yay!
Yay. So, and I know this is because of the class, because, well, we're in the middle of an economic crisis at the moment. And this is the only thing that I've changed fundamentally is taking this class. I haven't put any more money into advertising. I haven't done anything tangibly different other than this class. I mean, sure, I've tweaked a few things within the business, but it's all been because of the practices. It's all been because of things that we've come up with in the class. And we've never had this kind of growth before. So that's how I know. So this is real money in the bank because of the practices that we've been doing. And so that's like a very clear, cut and dry, on paper proof that this class is working for me.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, so that's a big example for me is the growth in the business.
Yes, that's very big. And do you want to share other things?
Yeah, so another thing that's maybe a little bit more painful. When I started the class, I was in a really unhealthy relationship, and the relationship was struggling to end. And we were both very unhappy, and I was able to work through the pain of that relationship ending with this class. And so now I'm working on finding the new person, my new person. And so that will be my next manifestation, is finding love. And yeah, so I was able to release and cut those cords and work through the pain of the unhealthy relationship over the course of the last year, and in a really healthy way, I feel that I didn't have in previous breakups, which I wish I did. Now looking back, so that was a way to go through it.
Thank you for sharing that. I think when you're in the middle of it, you never recognize that it is an unhealthy relationship. It's only afterwards that you look back and you're like, oh, that was not good. That was not good. And then you recognize, so thank you for sharing that. And you will attract your perfect person because you're so lovable.
Well, thank you. Well, I believe I will, because I know that this works, and so I believe that person is there, and that love is coming.
Yeah, it is, and the way that it shows up might catch you completely off guard.
Yeah,
like it did for me. Okay. So you never. It's so weird because you know that it works because you're doing the practices, and you can see in real time, oh my God, I just started doing it. And then this person almost walked into me that was like really good looking, and like, that's amazing. And then at the same time, there's also these moments where you're like, I remember the day that I met Fernando, I was feeling hopeless, like, okay, I'm just gonna go for a walk and I'm just gonna take care of myself. But I was holding my core, and that was the practice I was working on. So I was holding it, and I was holding it all the time. And then we met in a way that was perfect for me, because I had a pattern of physically running away when I found someone attractive. So I get red super easily, super easily. And I hate it. I'm probably getting red already. I can feel it. And so whenever I would get red around a guy that I found attractive, I would run away. Like, I would just like, oh, okay, thanks, bye, I need to go. Have a good day. And so, that's a pretty serious block. But so the way that we met was I was in such a like whatever mood because of the fatigue, that I didn't have the energy to run away. I didn't have the energy to think about whether or not I was attracted to him or not. I could see he was good looking, but like, thank God I had been hurt enough that I was like, whatever, like, who knows if this is going to turn out, or, so my brain just wasn't even in that place. I think so many things happen for it to be perfect for me, for it to work out. And then it just okay, so in my town, I never meet good looking people since I was 20. I would never meet good looking people naturally, like in the store or in my normal life, just naturally. I always had the kind of life where I really wasn't around men. I was a preschool teacher and a flight attendant, and both of those are very female dominant, and I love gay people too. Gay men are just, I love them. So I worked with a lot of women and gay guys that on the plane, and you know, the pilots are almost always married, so like that's not an option. So I just didn't meet good-looking men naturally in my life. And so it was always through online. But this day I happened to meet him at the beach, totally random, totally natural. In the middle of the week, I specifically went there because I knew nobody would be there. So it was like just all these things, check, 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 lined up for it to be perfect for me, for us to talk and have a conversation and work out. And so as I look back, I'm like, wow, that moment, that day really was orchestrated. It was a manifestation, because there's so many things that I do that block myself from getting what I want. And does that make sense?
Yeah, I do. Yep.
So keep doing the practices and it will happen. Yeah. I don't know how, but it will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just as big as all the money showing up in the bank. Like it'll happen.
Yeah. No, I trust the process. I'm a believer in the process.
Yay. And is there anything else you want to share? I guess we're coming to an end.
Just that I now really look forward to our Mondays, because that's when we have our sessions, and it's just such a fulfilling hour and a half that we spend together. And when we have weeks without a class, like we didn't have a class this week, I really missed it, because it's such a heartwarming, welcoming sense of community, and we've all laughed, we've all cried, and I've really come to rely on those Monday afternoons as, you know, for friendship and community and wellness, and it's been a really pivotal part of my week. And so the practices aside, that hour and a half that we spend on Mondays is just a joy.
Oh, yay. Thank you. Yeah, I love our class too, but the week break is important because it allows for integration. Yes. And it allows for rest and kind of like a recalibrating, because we're doing so much up leveling, and then the body or like our unconscious can kind of react and like, too much good. And then, so the break is to allow that pause of like, okay, I remember, okay, this is my new normal, kind of settling, you know, just like going into a pool, you're like settling into it, and oh yeah, I like this, is okay, I'll go, and compared to just like jumping in and your life is forever changed. Yeah. I mean, that's it. Yeah. So thank you so much. And I hope anybody you watching this video, I hope that you decide to try out a free class. And it is free because it's impossible for me to say what you will receive. And so you have to try it out for yourself and see what the practices will do for you. Almost everybody feels better immediately. I had one person show up to class crying, and then they felt a lot better and were laughing at the end of class. So I can promise, not actually, but I can bet that you will feel better from the class at the very least, but a lot of times people manifest small and big things almost right away. One person saw someone that they had kind of been estranged from. She said she wanted to see them and she was wondering how they were. And then 30 minutes later, she decided to go to the store and ran into that person in the store. So it can be anything. And then another person told me, and I'm keeping these ambiguous because that's the nice thing to do. Another person told me, yeah, the next day I went into a store and like everything was just easy for her. Everything just flowed. There was nobody in the store when she walked in. And then as she was leaving the store was like really amazing energy and full. And she got in and out very fast. So, and then for me, I started getting green lights all the time. Like so now I don't notice. But in the beginning, I was like, oh my God, this is really cool. As soon as I would pull up green all the time. So, and then I was working at preschool, so the children would behave drastically better. That was pretty immediate. So that was amazing. So yeah, it's free so that you can see what it will do for you. And it's a fun class.
Very fun.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you. And I can't wait for what new things you're going to manifest and attract and create and become. And
yeah, me too.
yeah, that's great. All right. Bye.